Mm. There's no video from your side. Do one thing. Can you type out the question
Yeah,
on the right hand side? Yeah.
sure.
And maybe you can, log off and log in once again. Because now your video is on. Okay, good. Chalo, theek hai. Now I
Yeah,
think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now only Senthil I think is pending.
okay.
Okay, Parma, tell me.
Yeah, you said logging into the divine consciousness is done through Jesus or Buddha or Guru Nanak or saints like this.
They are the gateway. Yes.
They are the gateway.
Hmm.
But Kanakadasa, I don't know if he had a guru, but he used to just worship the idol, Krishna's idol. And
Okay.
so is it possible to log in through
The idol.
idol worship also? Yeah.
No, there is a problem which I yesterday gave you an idea about. That the idol per se is having what is called as a charge. Like we have charged electricity. Now let us say, for example, we have what is called as that in school, if you have seen, we had one rod and a glass rod. Hmm?
Hmm.
And we used to rub it against some static electricity generator.
Hmm.
Static electricity generator, there are certain items where you rub the rod against that and then you hold it against the glass tube, that glass petri dish, and then it would attract the particles.
Hmm.
All right. And after some time, the glass rod would lose its
Charge.
attraction, power of attraction, because the power of attraction is not there in the glass. What has happened is just a few electrons have been displaced in that.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it creates this type of a attraction. Whereas in reality, the generator, the static electricity generator is completely different. Again, on another point of view, there is a lodestone. A lodestone is a stone which has magnetic properties.
Hmm.
All right. Now, if I hold a small iron against it, the iron gets the charge for some time. And if I remove the iron and I put it against other iron filings, it will attract that.
Hmm.
But after some time, the iron will become a plain piece of iron.
Yeah.
Now, every photograph, every image of God is something like this.
Hmm.
The lodestone has to come and touch it. See, in Puri, Jagannath Puri, we have the three very beautiful idols, plus
Subhadra, Balram,
one
and
more, yes,
Krishna.
plus one more, which is the Sudarshan. So these four idols are actually there, but in the initial stages, if you see, the sages over there would come and sit over there. Again, later on, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to be over there itself. He literally stayed in Puri, Jagannath Puri. After that, Ramakrishna Paramahansa went there. During the times of Shankaracharya went there. See, those images are wooden images. They have absolutely very little power in them. And it may so happen that I may take a small, piece of charm. Charm is what we say, we get the bracelets or the one which we put here
Hmm.
or in
Hmm.
our gale mein dalte hain. So all these things are
Taviz.
nothing but charms, taviz, yes.
Hmm.
Now if you ever seen a taviz wala, I don't know in Karnataka whether they have, but the taviz wala who used to travel all over India, he would pull out hair from the what do you call that? A bear,
Elephant.
a bear would travel with him. Okay, and then he would have something and tie it up, and ye Allah ki dua se tumko hai na iski barakat milegi, and then he would do that and tie it up and ये जब वो करके फिर वो है ना थोड़ा सा ऐसा उसके ऊपर मंत्र वगैरह कुछ बोल के देता था. And it was supposed to be like an protection against evil eye and all those things. It is nothing but a belief which got created, and the belief in turn was firmed up in us. Now, many a times you will find that in our house there are lots of idols. Actually, there are idols which, after a few years, get lost. In one of the very beautiful chapters in Sai Baba's book, Sai Satcharitra, it is mentioned that earlier there was some coins given to you, that person, and your father used to pray to these coins. Okay, and later on, many years later, the coins were lost. So Sai Baba then gives him a few more coins and says, "Ki, this is what it is. So go and pray to them." Okay, now the coins have come from Sai Baba, so they carry a lot of importance.
Charge.
See, even the Vibhuti which was given by Sai Baba actually plays a fantastic role in our lives as well. But today we go to this temple of Shirdi or every other temple that we have, and we take some Udi from there. Udi is that ash. It has no value. It has absolutely no value. You may correct, puris after puris after puris of those things, and yet nothing seems to happen. So Kanakadasa was having a guru. Okay. Now, some of the places gurus are never mentioned. The reason is because some gurus are not at all hayat. Hayat मतलब उनकी जो body ऐसी नहीं होती. They don't have a physical body.
They're only in spirit, yeah.
They are in spirit, and then they appear to these individuals, and you will find them, the inspiration and everything comes from that. Yesterday I was reading a very beautiful article written by I have forgotten the name. It was written by one of the current gurus in India. This particular guru, I don't know whether it was Ravi Shankar or Isha Yoga, what's his name? Somebody has written an article. Now, could be, I don't remember who has written it, or that Guru Ma, one of them has written the article. So in that they were talking about how this power keeps on coming to these sages. There are sages, and these sages are having a guru somewhere. Okay, if you go to this website called it's so difficult to remember the names. Okay, so but I will let you know, because once I get back into it I will understand. The Times of India has this some group, spiritual something, I don't know what it is called.
Oasis, yeah.
Okay, so there, no, it's a website. It's a website, and
the Speaking Tree, Bhavu.
Exactly, the speakingtree.com or something like that, the name of the website is. If you go to that, you can see a number of videos, number of satsangs and so on and so forth, which they have posted. In one of them, this was mentioned. Now, since I have this other small piddly stuff over there, what is it called? iPod or iPad. So I normally surf through that. So there I saw this article in which it was mentioned how these siddhis, how these powers, how these the divine, how do they go through these people. And in that it was mentioned how most of the gurus that were in this particular forum, in that forum that they mentioned in Speaking Tree, how they existed. So some of them have received initiation through dream. Some of them have, like even Muhammad was initiated through the dream, the prophet. Similarly, there are many of these sages who have got initiated through the dream. Again, if they give a mantra, there is another thing on mantra. The mantra can become useless if it is, mass distributed, as if it has got some big power in it. No, there is nothing in it. The mantra has to be a lineage mantra. That means it has to flow from the guru to his guru to, like from the forefathers, the gurus have passed on this mantra. Only when it comes through the direct channels does it have any significance. So if Kanakdasa has said some words, it would be definitely that he has got an initiation, but the real guru may not be visible to the person. Okay. In one of the posts which I think one of you have put up, in that it is mentioned how Ramana Maharishi, okay, he has said that I was sitting in that cave. Okay, Arunachala himself would come and give him that initiation. The initiation was actually given by the divinity itself. So many a times it happens that the divinity may appear to that person, and then only the lineage can start. So later on, if they put a faith in some statue, like say for example, Kali Ma statue in Dakshineshwar was built only during that particular period. If you remember, Rani Rashmani, okay, she had put up the statues and then she was searching for a Panditji for that place. And that's how she found this Gadadhar's elder brother. Now Gadadhar is Ramakrishna Paramahansa. So she found this person. He became the main Panditji for that big temple over there. And then he wanted to see whether he could get somebody. So he got his younger brother over there and he became the priest of this Radhakanta temple. Okay. Now think about it. There is one statue over there which is prayed to by Ramakrishnaji's Senthil has joined. Okay. Yeah, good morning, Senthil. So Ramakrishnaji's brother was praying to this statue. Till that time, why didn't anything happen? Nothing happened. It was later when his brother died and Ramakrishnaji shifted to Ma's temple. He was, I think, the priest for more than 25-30 years of that temple, by the way. And what you actually hear is the last half of his life. Where Ramakrishna Paramahansa's the first part of his life is hardly understood by anybody. So he used to sit over there and pray to the statue, crying tons and tons of bucket loads of tears, and he would sit and chat with her and talk. Then the statue got spiritualized, I can say, got that particular because of this saint sitting over there and talking to her. And today, when you visit that particular temple, there may be hardly any of the charge left in that. So, in ancient times, definitely the statue had a lot of charge in it. Maybe today, I don't know. It's the same with all others as well. So, Kanakdasa, when he was praying to that particular statue in Udupi, definitely passed on that his charge to that particular statue, not the other way around. Okay. Not that to that. Our way of looking at it is that is God and that is nobody. No, the sage has more value than that image over there. And that is the reason why.
It is his bhakti that made the statue move, turn around.
Yes. And it is a lineage. Basically, somewhere down the line, there is a lineage. We cannot see the lineage for that matter.
Okay, understood.
So many a times we confuse it by means of maybe that is how it works. Okay. So any more questions? Any other question that you have? Senthil, do you have anything today? No. Okay. So we can continue where we left. I think we finished yesterday. After that, the power went, isn't it?
Chapter 10.
Yes. So yes. See, Bhagavan said, Arjuna, hear once again my supreme word, which I shall speak to you who are so loving out of solicitude for your welfare. So Krishna is again going to go back to the drawing board because he has to keep on rephrasing again and again. You know, Krishna has mentioned the same thing many a times. There is a mention in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There is a mention of the same book in Garud Puran. Um Garud Puran also carries a synopsis of the Bhagavad Gita.
Mhm.
Now, yesterday also I had written, I have to recap the words again and again and again. The reason being, the value of it has to be drilled inside the person. So here Krishna is again talking of the same thing. Please hear my supreme word, which I shall speak to you. It's nothing but a reiteration and re-emphasizing the same thing again and again and again. So now he is going to try some slightly different approach. Now if you see this particular chapter is based on, you come to the last, the yoga of divine glories is mentioned over there. It says the yoga of divine glories. Okay, this chapter is based on that. Where divine glory means, what is it that we see in this divine person called Sri Krishna? What is the glorious things that this particular divinity is so much important about? Like, so he is going to talk to Arjuna about it. Neither gods nor the great sages know the secret of my birth. For I am the prime cause in all respect of gods as well as the great seers. Now this is a very strange line. He is talking about birth. So you see, only if you are born before then another person can you see the birth of that person. Correct? Your daughter or your son cannot see your birth.
Yeah, he should be a
It is,
predecessor.
yeah, it is always you can see your child's birth, but again, your grandfather, your great grandfather, they have seen your birth, your mother, they have seen your birth. So the sages have come after him. The sages were created much later. The entire goal of Vrindavana is full of sages only. There are no gods over there. Okay, so see, the god is a designate. The sage is full of knowledge, love, and devotion. These are the three things the sages are full of: love, knowledge, and devotion. Because the entry point of the Vrindavana is nothing but basically a place full of love and devotion. Okay, and the sages are full of knowledge. And the sages are the one which got created first. If you see, Brahmaji creates the sages first. I think you will remember. He creates, the first four children, and then so many others who are basically the sages. So, if you look at it from that point of
One
view,
sec, one sec. I thought once you said that the sages or the gurus are the direct representatives of the Lord.
yes,
They don't get created by Brahma.
yes, they don't get created. Golok Vrindavana is a place which is called the Supreme Unmanifest.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, if the Supreme Unmanifest, whatever that is existing over there, has to take a form. So they have to come through the channels, no?
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
See that it is like sugar cane. Sugar cane contains sugar. But for the sugar to come out of sugar cane, we have to first crush the sugar cane and then create a liquid. The liquid has to be then crystallized and then it becomes a sugar granules. So existence is there in the Goloka. As I told you, what is there in the Goloka is nothing but Krishna in his divine form. That is what is called as the supreme divine person. And the sages are his gopis. All gopis are sages, by the way.
Yeah.
Alright? And they are in basically an unmanifest domain over there. Though they seem to exist, but they are actually an unmanifest. And everybody is a female because the reason being only one male is over there. So Krishna plus the one that he would mate with. Krishna and the one that he would mate with. So basically, an individual over there doesn't exist the way you may think of. So when it has to be created, it's like when Krishna has to come on earth, he has to take a form. Taking a form is very important. So please note that first the sages were created. Always the form had to be brought out. So the form came about in the universe. So when the sages were brought about, they were full of knowledge only. Okay, they were the divine persona, one with the unmanifest, and they are full of knowledge. So dissipation of knowledge was happening during the first yuga. If you remember, all the sages would discuss about the Lords and his glories and so on and so forth. So the sages knew about the Lord's glories, but nobody knows his birth because the sages came after him. So nobody, no sages or no human beings or no gods. Gods came much later. Gods were created much later. After this whole universe got created, then the gods got created. Because their every domain needs certain regulations. And because the regulations are required and because certain facilities need to be given, so the gods got created. So every domain has a god for that reason. So he is saying over here, neither gods nor the great sages know the secret of my birth. They cannot know the secret. So I think you understand now. For I am the prime cause. Prime cause means everything comes from me, or in all respect of gods as well as the great seers. So because I am the one who has created this entire universe. He who knows me in reality as unborn. Okay, here I will have to give you one small understanding. Follow this. If when I said the words, the seers came first, it is when you take a manifest form born on earth. Born on earth. Okay, we are talking of somebody who is born on earth. Then we can say they have come first. Alright? But Brahmaji in reality came first, isn't it? Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, okay, with their designate, wives, sort of, like this Mahashaktis they are called, they came about first. So if I go backwards in time, you will still say, the gods came first, then the sages. No, the gods came first from the unmanifest point of view. But from the manifest domain, from the manifest is the earthly domain, where they are actually having a form. The form came about for the sages, and we are discussing the forms of the sages just now. Okay. So there is a second unmanifest, first unmanifest. The first unmanifest contains Purusha, and who creates the Prakriti. Prakriti is this designate.
Yeah.
Understand? But they have not taken form the way physically Lakshmi or Saraswati may not have a physical form. Alright? Physical form comes for the sages. And as and when the time is right, the physical form is taken up by these divinities as well. Alright? As and when. So at that point in time, you will find that Krishna came much later. He came during the age of Dwapara. Correct? And Sri Ram took the form during the age of Treta. Got it? And Dattatreya took the form during the time of the Satyuga, which is the Krita. So Krita, Treta, Dwapara and Kali Yuga. Now in today's Kali Yuga, we have a form of Ma, which is called the Kali. The form of Kali doesn't exist till it is created. Alright, so you will see if Parvati has to take a form in today's day and age, what is it that she will take up as? It is like, let us say for example, somebody from today's Yuga goes to meet somebody from say 500 years ago. He is wearing jeans and t-shirt and a jacket and all that, and he goes to meet this person 500 years ago. There is going to be a disconnect, isn't it? Because they will all wonder where these clothes have come from. In the same way, if you look at it from another perspective, this person entering the age which is still further down. Now we talk of reverse. Somebody from the 5th or the 6th century AD suddenly appears in today's day and age. What kind of clothes or what kind of things he would be wearing? It's going to be a complete disconnect. So in the same way, when all these divinities have to take a form, they have to take specific forms for specific designated time. Got it? Understood? Otherwise, there is going to be a complete disconnect. So if today, if Krishna has to take a form, he will come as Chaitanya. He can't come as somebody who doesn't understand the dress code of this age. Isn't it? The dress code like we have in colleges and all. So there is going to be a disconnect. So for current Yuga, what kind of form he would take? Depending on what kind of form, he has to dress up, he has to behave like that. His skin and color and everything will keep on changing. So you understood formation, how it happens? ठीक है कि नहीं? कोई doubt है? Okay. So he who knows me in reality as unborn and without beginning, and as the supreme Lord of the universe, he undiluted amongst men is purged of all sin. So the person who understands him as unborn and without beginning, and as a supreme Lord of the universe, he undiluted among men is purged of all sin. Now what happens? A person comes in a particular form. The divinity, what I mean is the divinity takes up a particular form. Now let us say a divinity has taken the form of Shri Ram. Now Shri Ram is a person who is very naughty. Right from childhood he has created this very big naughtiness. And so he would run to the jungles and he would do a lot of mischief out there. And suddenly Vishwamitra tells his father, your son needs to be given proper education. So they call Shri Ram and they tell him, you need to take this education, you need to have this understanding about the scriptures. And Shri Ram says, I am not interested, I am going away. Okay. And then he goes away back to and he refuses to come every now and then. So finally Vishwamitra tells his father Dasharatha that your son needs proper education because he is the divine himself. Okay. And he says the only person who can give him proper education is Vasishtha. Nobody else on this earth can give him because Vasishtha is the highest form of Guru at that point in time. So they call Vasishtha and they call Sri Ram. Sri Ram, the moment he is called, he knows some Guru they are going to put on top of his head. So again he refuses. I am not going to come. And he is literally caught by his ears to be brought in front of the assembly. And Vasishtha Muni's demeanor is very grave. You can't look at him and not get scared. So, because he is not like Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra is he is a Rajguru. So in his world everything is jayaz, everything is okay. But Vishwamitra is not a Rajguru. He is the higher than Vishwamitra. So naturally when he is standing over there, he is sitting in the assembly, Sri Ram definitely has to bow down to him and say, okay, I will come with you. So in the initial stages of his journey with Vishwamitra, with Vasishtha Muni, was of a terrible thing to him because you have to now mold to something which you don't even know how it is to be done. It is the same case with Krishna as well. Gargi comes to his family and says that a child like this is Krishna himself. And Yashodhara and her husband are wondering what this man is talking about. They don't understand what he is saying. And Gargi Muni is a great person, so they are wondering how can this child which is there, can have such a type of because he has taken out his kundali and everything, and he has come to the understanding who he is, and they are zapped. They don't know because they are like normal human beings, and so what happens is this is a kind of form which the gods take. They are completely delusive in nature. And if you look at Sri Ram before he met Vashishta, you will consider him as any school boy or somebody like that. Same way when Krishna is looked upon by his own parents, his foster parents, and the entire group of people, they look upon him as some weirdo till he is given the fundas by Sandipani. Now, this kind of delusive nature is always existing with every divinity. Every divine form that is there has this kind of a error in the system's error. Even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, he was behaving like a normal human being, absolutely normal. When you would have looked at him, he looked like a schoolboy or somebody who has just got married to some girl, and though he would be spouting all sorts of I will come to that. Actually, that's a big Padma, whatever you have written, that is a very big topic by itself.
Okay.
Maybe I'll
Some
take
other
it
day.
at some other time. That even
Yeah.
Aparna had told I'm going to take it at some other time, and there are others also. So I had told them that this entire how creativity happens in everybody, that is a very big topic. But let me continue where I stopped. So every form that is appearing will give you a delusive, you will wonder what kind of a God can exist in this person. Even when Jesus was going around the place talking about gods at that point in time, nobody understood. No one understood what was he talking about. So you will find that it happens many a times that the person has absolutely no clue. That means the human beings who exist during that point in time have absolutely no clue that there is a God existing amongst them. Okay? And they go by their physical appearance, and then they go by what they talk and what they behave. And it is nothing but for sort of a delusion. So Sri Krishna created the delusion. He is mentioned in one of the verses that my yoga maya creates this delusion in the minds of people. It is the same yoga maya which creates delusions when a person looks at Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. It's the same yoga maya which deludes every person when they look at Sri Ram or a Jesus or a Buddha. Buddha would sit amongst all the people under the grove and eat like a normal human being. If you looked at Buddha, he would appear like any other person in that group. Because everybody was shaved, everybody had a takla on that, wore those orange color clothes and roamed around with one katori. Okay? So at that point you would wonder, who is this person that we are talking about? It doesn't look like some great person. Padmasambhava, when he went to Tibet, nobody recognized him. Nobody. In the same way, the Dalai Lama, when they met his mother was wondering what these people are talking about. Seems like some nonsense. And then she was told that this is the Dalai Lama that we are after. So she got a shock of her life. Parents literally got a shock of their life. Oh my God, how can that be? And then the Dalai Lama undergoes a training. It is nothing but, you see, you have an embedded knowledge Yesterday Kalpana asked me this question. So I told her that everybody is divine. Everybody is divine. Everybody is that shining 1 rupee coin. Okay. But that shining 1 rupee coin was dipped in tar. Tar, you understand? Damar. And if the coin is dipped in damar and then it is solidified, okay, how many can you go and give that coin and run in the market? No, you can't. Even if it has this much amount of tar left on it, do you think you can give it to some shopkeeper and say, okay, this is the 1 rupee coin? Do you think he will accept it? No. That means this damar or this tar is nothing but what we call as ignorance. It's black in color. It is ignorance. So you have to remove it fully. It has to be cleaned thoroughly. और घासलेट में डाल के बाद में उसको क्लीन करना पड़ेगा. घासलेट मतलब you understand? घासलेट का मतलब kerosene. You have to first you remove all the covering of that, then you put it in the kerosene for quite some time so that the whole tar dissolves in that, and then maybe after drying it, then you can go and purchase something with it. But till that point in time, it is worthless. So though everybody is filled with the same divine knowledge, but the divine knowledge is not visible to anybody. Now we come to these people, these divine people. Now when the divinity takes a form, it is covered by the Kanchukas, 5. Okay. But when they meet their Guru, they dip it straight in kerosene and remove the whole thing out. They become pure like this. Whereas in our case, normal human beings, doesn't happen. So only when you understand this, that they meet their Guru so that the clearing up happens fast. See, if you have read Ramakrishna Paramahansa's book, there a person called Totapuri is a great sage. He comes to meet him. And in 3 days, Ramakrishna ji is spouting Vedanta. Now you think about it. How can somebody spout Vedanta in 3 days? Unless and until it's the divinity itself. Same when he meets his Guru of Tantra, that lady, Brahmani, he is able to teach her more than she can teach him after some time. Same case happens to all these great gurus. Their job is only to remove the covering. And in most of the cases, the covering comes off faster. Why? Because they are the divine people. Alright? So I think you got the gist of it. Alright? So, he who knows me in reality as unborn and without beginning and as the supreme lord of the universe, he undiluted among men is purged of all sins. So those who have the knowledge about this divine, when he takes a form, and they understand who he is, how can that happen? Only with the 2 words. First word is called faith. It has to be absolute faith. You cannot have dagmagati hui faith. You can't have 99% faith and 1% okay, I don't know. No, it has to be 100% faith, and then there has to be a surrender. The surrender has to be complete. Again, if you read that today's update somebody has put up, I think it is Aparna or Bitto or something, you will find that it is mentioned over there that till the surrender never happened to Ramana, nothing could happen. So in Ramana's case, surrender was important. Or is it that Advaita? I don't recollect which one it is. So surrender happened, then only the divinity was fully visible. But no surrender happening, no faith in a person, you can't see the divinity. Then you can only see a Krishna who is a normal human being. They can only see a Ram who looks like the king's son Dashrath. They will look at him like that.
Maya consciousness.
Huh?
Then you are in Maya consciousness, not Krishna consciousness.
Yes. At that point in time, you are definitely going to be a confused person, because sometimes you think that that person is a divinity and sometimes you think that that person is a nobody. This is This sometimes will not work, because he says, he who knows me in reality, only such a person, as unborn. I am never born. I just take forms one after the other. I keep on coming on a continuous basis. Without beginning. I don't have a beginning. And as a Supreme Lord of the universe, he undiluted among men is purged of all sin. Only such a person who has this complete faith and has surrendered to my will be purged of all sin. There will be no karma against that person. Reason, right knowledge, unclouded understanding, forbearance, veracity, control over the senses and mind, joy and sorrow, evolution and dissolution, fear and fearlessness, non-violence, equanimity, contentment, austerity, charity, fame and obloquy. These the diverse traits of creatures emanate from me alone. Okay. Now he is mentioned over here all these great stuff, which are the positive qualities which Krishna has bestowed on people. What are the things that he has bestowed on this sage? Reason.
Reason.
As I told you, we need to have reason. Reasoning capacity. Every person has a reasoning capacity. If you use your pure intellect, remember the pure intellect comes from the domain of the spiritual.
Divine.
So pure intellect, when you use that pure intellect in the material world, reasoning has to be done. So if there is no proper reasoning, when you use the lower intellect, the reasoning is always going to be wrong. Alright? So when you have to use the proper reasoning in this material world, so this is the reason that he is talking about right knowledge. By using this particular knowledge which is there inside us, which is again, like I told you, the intellect stores all these things, and using the reason, what knowledge will come out of it is called right knowledge, unclouded understanding. Understanding has to be perfect. If you are going to have a completely distorted understanding, how will you recognize him? So he has given this unclouded understanding to the sages. The sages have unclouded understanding. They know who is the super boss. They don't bother about all these other stuff in the material world. So they have the right reason, they have the right intellect, the right knowledge, forbearance. Should be able to withstand all the bullshit that is happening in our world. You know how much things are going wrong? I mean, you will say that I don't have a job, I don't have money, I don't have this, I don't have that. So many things are there. Then there are illnesses, there are factors connected to death, there are factors connected to, the law, there are factors connected to, you name it. Everything exists simultaneously for individuals. At such point in time, the faith is always at the lowest ebb. Okay, please understand this. You are always low, but forbearance. To be able to withstand all this nonsense. You see, none of the sages, whether it is a Kanakdasa, whether it is a Kabir, whether it is a Ramakrishna ji, or whether it is a Ramana Maharshi, or anybody, including this great sage who was a queen herself, Mirabai. Every sage had to go through hell. In their personal and physical world, they were going through the worst circumstances, and I am sure no human being would like to go in their places at all. I mean, the type of troubles which Kabir has gone through, or the type of problems which Khalij has gone through, and Rumi. We praise Rumi so much, but do you know Rumi had to run away? He had to go from Basra to where he is today, where that place where they praise him so much. There he could go and start this society. But before that, even Muhammad, the great saint of Islam, the prophet, he had to run for his life. That is why they have the Hajj. Correct or no? Or what do they call it? I don't know what the word is for. From Makkah to Medina, he had to run. In the same way, Jesus had to go through literally the worst I think anybody could go through. So imagine at that point in time the breakdown happens in a person. Oh my God, then there is no way of redemption. So you need to have the forbearance. The forbearance is the power to withstand anything in this world. So they have tremendous amount of forbearance, veracity, control over the senses and mind, joy and sorrow. These are words which we have kept on doing again and again and again. If you don't have a control over mind, then you are going to get into trouble. See, if you look at all the words over here, fearlessness. If you have fear, you are not going to do anything. Please understand, the moment you have fear, you are not even going to lift your finger. But because you have fearlessness, now I want you to actually think of this. Think about what these words are and start applying them to yourself. Apply these words which Krishna is mentioning about. You will understand that, as you grow in the spiritual, these words actually are designate for you alone. Because you will understand that you can overcome your senses and mind. You can be having equanimity in joy and sorrow as well. There will be joy on one side, there will be sorrow as well. But equanimity means, why are you so carried away by joy and why are you so carried away by sorrow? The joy and the sorrow have no value in your world. Can you have equanimity at both the points in time? Sometimes when we are in tremendous trouble, we say, God, please take me out of this trouble. Okay? Is that what is supposed to be done by the spiritual? The spiritual will have to forbear it. You have to endure. You have to go through it. In the same way, when some joy comes in your world, are you going to stand on top of Himalayas and say, oh, I did it, I did it? No, nothing like that. You can't do any of those things. You just have to look at it as one of the things which happens in your life. Does not matter. Don't pay so much of importance to it. Non-violence, equanimity, contentment. We are supposed to be non-violent. Non-violent means something which goes against the karmic laws. There are the karmic laws. Violence does not mean the violence that we talk about in the material world. What has sage got to do with violence? Think about it. You see, a sage like Ram had to go and fight the war. You agree with me? He had to go and kill. He had to do so many things. So you can call it violence, is it? He killed so many of the people, so he is a very violent person. Can you say these words? No.
That was his dharma.
Yeah. Violence simply means this. Something which goes against the karmic actions. Karma is there. Now karma says you have got to kill somebody. So it is a part of the action that he is supposed to perform. But when he says, I will not do it, it is violent against that law which is written over there. Or when somebody is not supposed to kill, or somebody is not supposed to beat some other person, and he does it, it is violence in nature. So this word has got a very significant meaning if you see it from the karmic perspective. So what is given to these sages by Sri Krishna is called non-violence. Then austerity, equanimity. Equanimity I just discussed, neither swaying from left to right. Contentment. They are content. They may not have even 1 rupee in their world. You see, if you remember the story of the sage who got extra meal to eat, so he had kept it over there, so the rats came, and then the cat came, and then the cow came, so on and so forth happened. Whereas this person is content. Sometimes the sage has to move around and may not get food to eat for 4 days. He has to be content in that. No, he doesn't have what to do. I mean, there is nothing there available. But if God wants to give him food, he will give him. This kind of surrender is very, very rare. Please understand this. This surrender can only happen when you are a very divine person yourself, or you are moving into that direction. Austerity, charity, fame and obliquity. But again, the word called charity is a very Funny word over here. Charity means मेरे पास 1 लाख रुपया है तो मैं 50,000 देगा. That is not called charity. Charity means अगर तुम्हारे पास 10 पैसा है तो तुम 20 पैसा दोगे. And you will wonder what nonsense are you talking about? अगर 10 पैसा है तो 20 पैसा कैसा दोगे? If I have 1 rupee, how can I give 2 rupees? The word I have always, I think Raj, I don't know whether she's there or no just now, but that word is called danat. Danat is something which is called charity. Charity means whether you have it or not, whether you have the will to say, I will give. Please understand, the sage doesn't have a penny in his hand. Look at Ramakrishna ji, or look at Ramanna, or look at Sai Baba. Do you think Sai Baba had 100 rupees in his hands that he was giving 50 to somebody? Sorry. When you go to Sai Baba, he has 0 in his hands and yet he gives 1 lakh of rupees. Do you get what I am trying to say? What is the meaning of the word Danat? Danat doesn't mean that which you have that you have to give. No, it doesn't mean that. It means do you have the will to give more than you have? Only the great sages like a Sai Baba or a Ramakrishna ji or a Mirabai or anybody else in this world, when you look at them, do they sanction a lot more when they themselves have 0 in their hands? Now do you understand the meaning of the word Danat? The word Danat is translated, I had this Satsang with Raj, I think 2 years ago, if I am not mistaken. And this word came up at that point in time. So she asked me, what is the meaning of this word? So I said, Danat matlab नहीं है, फिर भी आप देने के लिए तैयार हैं. लेकिन वो आएगा कहां से? Is your big. See, we are human beings, so we have this. We think we are incapable of doing anything in our material world. You understand incapability? The incapability is, I can't do it. What do you mean you can't do it? You can drink a bottle of water and put it in a panti, and can you light that panti? Panti, you understand? Panti बोलेगा तो क्या रे?
Mud lamp.
Yes, the mud lamp. Can you light a mud lamp? Think. The mud lamp requires oil. And here, this man, Sai Baba, drinks a bottle of water and then pours out that in those pantis, and the pantis are lit. Do you see the amount of dana that is? You are creating something out of nothing. The creation of something out of nothing can only happen in your world, and please mark these words. If you have absolute faith, complete surrender in the Lord, then anything in the world can happen. And please understand this, it depends exactly on the faith that you have. Remember the verse which Chandorkar is one day standing at Kalyan railway station. Kalyan railway station पे Chandorkar खड़े थे. At that point in time, one man comes and tells him, my daughter is very sick. She doesn't have, whether she's going to be alive or no, I don't know. If you are going to Shirdi, can you please tell Baba my daughter is very sick? Now Chandorkar is not going anywhere. Chandorkar stands over there, takes a little mud from the ground, holds it in his hands, and takes the name of Baba and gives that person the mud and says, इसको है ना पानी में घोल के तुम्हारी बेटी को दे देना. Dissolve this in water and give it to your daughter, and she will be fine. Now you tell me, does the word Danat have a meaning in you? It has to be only done with faith. This person's daughter survives. Now, do you think that mud had something in it? No, it is the faith of that person, the faith and the absolute surrender which Chandorkar had for Sai Baba, that he could give that pinch of dust from the ground. He says, Chandorkar says, that that particular thing became the ash from Sai Baba's feet. But if we are there, normal human beings are there, and somebody comes and asks us, मेरा बेटा बीमार है, मेरी बेटी बीमार है, हम लोग क्या करते हैं? मैं क्या करूं उसमें? मेरे को मालूम नहीं क्या करने का. चलो हम लोग हॉस्पिटल जाते हैं और वी डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं. We don't say, don't worry, God is there, He will cure you. We don't say these words. We dissuade the person. We pull the person down and we tell the person, it can't be done. That is our incapacity. Danat is a word which comes from this thing where the charity. The sage doesn't have, yet he gives. That is called charity. Please do not mistake charity in this material world as somebody has got 5 million and he is giving 4 million away. That is not called charity. That is stupidity. That's ignorance. And that person has to suffer for that 4 billion that he must have given. Please understand, that is not charity at all. And whosoever tells you that you have 100 and you give 50 to somebody, that is charity. No. Charity is more than what you have, you can give. Even if you don't have, you have faith. And even if you say the words, God will give you more than what you can imagine. And it will come through me. I will be the one who is going to give you. That is called charity. Okay? Now, many a times we have the next words. We have a lot of fame. In the material world, the fame is about how many times your article appears in the newspaper. Your fame is all about how many people know you. Your fame is all about, oh, somebody comes and praises me for what I am doing. Bullshit. That is not fame. What does fame mean? Fame means God knows you, not the people knowing you. Do you understand this? You are famous. God knows you. He comes to you, believe it or not. All these sages, the God has actually come to them like a bhikkhari. He has come to them saying, आप मुझे दे सकते हैं क्या? Why would somebody come? Do you remember the words again where Narad Muni is asking this Vishnu?
Who is your greatest bhakt?
Yes, and Vishnu says immediately, this one, see. When it is on top of the mind, like we have a top of the mind. I know God has no mind, but let us, for understanding purpose, the moment something happens, God takes your name. Go to Him, He will help you. That is famous. Your name has to be top of the priority list. All the gods knew Anusuya. How did they know Anusuya? Think about it. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, all three knew Anusuya. Now do you think that is famous, or knowing in the world, people knowing, 100 people knowing in the world is famous? Fame. The lords recognize you. So they come to meet you. That is called fame. But our way of looking at fame is, मेरा नाम पेपर में आया क्या, मेरे को लोग पहचानते हैं क्या, मैं एयरपोर्ट पे जा रहा था तो लोग मेरे को शेक हैंड करने को आए. आपको याद है, लक्ष्मी मिलने को आई थी हमको, रामकृष्ण परमहंस मिलने को आते हैं. क्यों आते हैं? क्या लगता है आपको? विठोबा came. Why would a Jnaneshwar or a Tukaram sit there in front? That is called fame. Do you understand? The fame means the divinity himself comes to see you for some
You are
reason.
the chosen one?
Maybe you are the chosen one, or maybe it is because of the faith and the amount of service that you are doing. See, it all depends at the end of the day, the service. Service मतलब आपने सेवा की. सेवा करना सबसे बड़ा महत्व महत्व सी बात है. In all the places in the world, you will find that I don't know how many of you are seeing the serial Har Har Mahadev. I don't know. Okay, some of you may be seeing, some of you may not be seeing. But in that, there is a lot of seva that is happening. If you look at it, Nandi seva can never be less anywhere. I'm sorry, Nandi is the greatest, person. In the same way, if you look at Hanuman, you see the seva that he does. और हनुमान के लिए and राम के लिए हनुमान सबसे श्रेष्ठ है. Do you know that the Lord considers Hanuman more Shrestha than even Lakshman or his wife? Please understand this. सेवा करना सबसे बड़ी बात है. And that can only happen, and God will go to such type of people only. God tells Hanumana.
He lives in Hanuman.
Yes, God tells Hanumana, I want you to go and meet Balram over there and Krishna. My avatar is over there. Go over there and see him. So Hanuman goes to Dwarka and he says, I will wait over here. He is a monkey, please remember that. So he sits eating all the fruits in the garden over there. And he goes and he breaks down all the fruits and he starts eating over there. At that time, Balaram comes over there. He gets very angry looking at a monkey. How can monkey do this? And he gets so angry with him. Finally, he tries to shoo him and do all sorts of things. He doesn't go away. And then he has a fight with the monkey. And with one single blow, the monkey brings down Balaram. So Balaram wonders at him, I am Adishesh avatar. How can the monkey beat me? At that time, Krishna comes over there. Krishna with his wife comes over there. And they ask for pardon from Hanuman, saying that please kindly pardon him. He doesn't know who you are. So Hanuman looks at Krishna and Rukmini and asks, who are you? So he says, don't you recognize me, my bhakt? So he says, please tell me who you are because I don't know. I've become very old. So at that point in time, he says, okay, I had promised you my original Swarup. So here I am. You can see me standing over here. And at that time, Krishna, Rukmini and Balram, all three are standing there. And that avatar that we worship, you see, Krishna is actually Ram. Sita, Rukmini is Sita. And Lakshman, remember Lakshman? Lakshman is Balram. He sees these three and he bows down to them. And at that time, Sri Ram tells, Hanuman, it is because of your bhakti that I wanted to meet you again. Though I had promised you that I will meet you again in this yuga also. So in the Dwapar Yuga, Hanuman, who is an eternal soul, gets to meet his divine. Got it? And that is what it is. So we move to the next line and we will, I think we will see how best we can continue over. The seven great seers. You know the seven great seers? Saptarishi. Okay. Four elders, Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanadana. Okay, all those four sons of Brahmaji. The 14 Manus or progenitors. We are supposed to be the 14th generation or 15th generation for all you know. There are many Manus. Manus is the person who was called the first man. Okay, like we have the Swayambhu Manu and so on and so forth. And who are all devoted to me, but born by my will. From them all these creatures in the world have descended. पहले सप्तऋषि आए. सप्तऋषि हमारे इसमें बहुत माना जाता है. They, I don't know what they are called in English, but I think they are called the seven constellations constellation.
Formation
English
of
में constellation है ना?
a group of stars.
Yes. So these are 7 constellations which were called the Saptarishis. They came about first, and then then the 4 sages. If you remember the 4 sages who are there: Sanak, Sanatan, Sanadan, and what else is the last one? Yeah, Sanat Kumar. These are the 4 sages which came about. They are the sons of Brahmaji. They represent the 4 Vedas, though the Vedas never got separated till Vyas Muni separated them, but they were all called the 4 sages. They were the primary sages, and then came the 14 Manus. When there are Manus means Adam and Eve type, okay? Adam, something like that. The first man to be born on this planet Earth. So there are 14 of such. So that means the 14 Manvantaras have happened. Okay, 4 yugas, 4 yugas, 4 yugas, like that 14 times must have happened. Who knows? Who are all devoted to me. All these people are devoted to me. They have only been working through me only. Like I have only created them and they have been praying to me. Okay, so whichever yuga that comes about, whoever comes about, all these, including the sages, are praying to me. Correct? Were born of my will. It's because of my will alone that they were born. I took the form of Vishnu, who created these sages. Alright? Mahavishnu is the form which is very important at this point in time. So they were born of my will, and from them all these creatures in the world have descended. So the remaining creatures that were supposed to form, they all came from this alone. He who knows in reality the supreme divine glory and supernatural powers of minds gets established in me through unfaltering devotion. Of this there is no doubt. Again the word has come over here, devotion. Okay. Now this word, how many times it has come from the beginning? You will find the word devotion, 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 devotion. He keeps on just talking about it. Unfaltering devotion. You cannot have half-hearted devotion at all. No, it has to be completely unfaltering. You cannot even say, ना अच्छा थोड़ा देर तेरे पास रहता हूँ, थोड़ा देर और दूसरे के पास जाके रहता हूँ. नहीं चलेगा. Devotion has to be perfect. One moment. So, the one who knows me in reality, this supreme divine glory, ये जो मेरी glory है, if you know these glories, you know how many glories we have described so far? All these glories you have transferred to the sages also, if you remember in the previous lines. Alright? And now he is talking about all the sages, so on and so forth, and creation. Everything has come from him. So these are my glories. Glories मतलब मेरा बड़प्पन है. मेरा जो आप जिसको praise कर सकते हैं. You can keep on praising this. Okay? And supernatural powers. They are not natural powers at all. They are supreme powers. They are the ones which have created these universes. And the people and everything that is designate in that has been created because of this. All this has come from me alone. So those who know, they get established in me. Those people who are one-pointed, single-pointed devotion to me, they only know this whole thing, and those who know me will also have to come. You see both ways how it works? For there is no doubt. So don't have any doubts at all. I am the source of all creation, and everything in the world moves because of me. Knowing thus, the wise, full of devotion, constantly worship me. This verse, do you think, is contrary to the verse where he says, I am not in that? Now do you understand that there is a verse where he says, I am not in this and I am not in that also? Yet, he is talking about what are his divine glories. In this, the verse has come where he says very clearly, I am the source of all creation. Source, where it all began. He is not telling you that just now things are happening. He is telling you where it all began, it all started with me only. That means the beginning, the seed. From the seed comes the tree, from the tree comes the fruit will fall down, the seed will come out of it. Again from the seed another tree will come up. Like that, it goes on and on and on. So the seed, I am the seed of all these things, I am the source of all creation. And everything in the world moves because of me. Why does everything in the world move because of me? Because I have set it in motion. I have set it in motion. One seed has been put so that it keeps on giving more seeds. More seeds, more trees. More trees, more fruits. More fruits, more seeds. Goes on. It's like a never-ending cycle I have started. So it is like an ongoing process. You see, first there was one man, from that became two, from two became four, four became eight, went on and on and on and on. Like this, I have set it in motion. So everything in the world moves because of me. Knowing thus the wise, full of devotion, constantly worship me. And because of this, only the wise sages, they can understand that I am the one who is doing all these things. So they worship me. Physically, you will not see me doing anything. Physically, there is nothing that I will do. I will only be doing through my processes, which is in the material world, there are things which are going to happen. And through my designates. Designates are, all these Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, these are my designates. They do the jobs for me. I don't do myself. They are all my designates. This whole Prithvi, or we can say Prakriti. Prakriti is doing her job. Maya is doing her job. Everything works in this particular way. And I have set this ball in motion. And only the wise know me, so they constantly worship me. If you know these real terms, then only you will worship him. If you think that there is somebody out there who is doing it, the biggest thing which we have in our world is what, I am doing it, I am doing it, I am doing it. The I never gets decimated. We always think I am the doer. Socho, who is this I am the doer? There is no I. Please understand, I can't do a thing. I don't even know whether I can be born also. So right from birth to death, you have no control over anything. So how can you say I am the one who is doing it, I am the one who is doing it? And then you say, I am the one who created the next seed. Oh, so the fruit thinks that he is creating the seed. Think there is a fruit, a सीताफल. सीताफल की जो बी नीचे निकलती है, कल अगर सीताफल ने बोला ये मेरे बच्चे हैं, how funny will it sound to you? Think about it. हाँ, ये अभी देखो ना, ये आम बोलेगा ये मेरा बच्चा है, सीड देखो इसमें से है ना तुमको तुम्हारा आगे का आम मिलेगा. बोलेगा आम पागल हो गया है. तो आम लोग ऐसे ही पागल होते हैं. Common people are always mad like this. They think they create the seed, and they think that the seed is come from them. The seed has been put so that the future generation can come. Okay, it's not like that. It's not that you have to pay so much of importance to their own self. I am the one who is creating this, and then he will say मेरी सीड से ये बड़ा झाड़ आया. बोला तुम मेरी सीड से झाड़ आया तभी तक है ना फ्लश होके चला गया रहेगा. समझ में आया? आम को खा के वो फ्लश होके चला गया, उसके बाद सीड रह गया, वो सीड लगाया, उसका झाड़ आ गया. तभी आम किधर से बोलेगा कि मेरे से ये झाड़ आ गया करके. बोला वो तो चला गया. तो इफ योर ग्रैंडफादर सेज you who has come today in the world because of me, बोला कैसा आम है यार, देख, go flush yourself. It's like that. So giving importance to your own self or to this body, the I in us, is going to degrade us more and more and more. So with their minds fixed on me and their lives surrendered to me, enlightening one another about my greatness and speaking of me, my devotees ever remain contented and take delight in me. With their mind fixed in me. They don't have their mind fixed on the material world or something or the other. If your mind is fixed on every other thing in the material world, you are going to suffer and fall. There is never going to be in your life where you can ever reach him. You are going to reach that place. Please understand. Okay? Think about it. You are going to be always trapped in the cycle of birth and death. Okay? In one of the stories that had come about, there is a brother and then there is a sister. They kept on meeting each other in every life. and the brother was protective to her. In one life he was brother-sister, in one life he was father-daughter. Okay, it went on. Finally, he became a very distant friend, and this girl was beaten by her husband because she is meeting this boy. For what reason? At that time the girl tells her husband, he is my brother from this life, he was my father in this life, he was this in this life. Why? And that is the reason why today he is there with me. And that is the reason why he is existing. So he always comes with me. But that particular life of hers, she reaches the state of enlightenment by meeting her guru. She had only heard of her guru once in a while. But she had never, once in a while in the sense she meets him 4 times, I think, in her life. But till the age of 30 or so, she has never met her guru at all. But she knows who her guru is. And she keeps on taking his name constantly. Janabai. Her guru is Tukaram. And she takes his name constantly. She's never met him, by the way. So one day she tells her husband, I am going to Pandharpur. I am going to meet him over there. And her husband threatens her, you cannot go. But she goes, meets him, and continues to stay over there. And that is a life where she gets liberation. Because she meets her guru, who then shows her the pathway towards Vithoba. So you can understand, you can get trapped in a cycle of birth and death with the same person. Again and again and again and again. इसीलिए हम लोग बोलते हैं ना कि वही हस्बैंड मेरे को कितने बार मिले. आप सोचो, आज कोई बोल सकता है? नहीं. क्यों? क्योंकि वो तकलीफ वाली बात है. तो अब वहां पर अगर आप तुम कट कर सकते हो तो बाकी दुनियादारी के साथ क्यों अपना संबंध बना के? फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट. So that is the reason why I am saying this line to you. With the mind fixed on me. Don't fix your mind on these material worldly people. They are going to be constantly irritating you in all your lives. They are going to be constantly there with you. Why do you want to have somebody in your life like that? Why not have Krishna himself? With your mind fixed on me and the life surrendered to me. Only when you surrender. Do you remember in the previous verse we are talking about devotion and now we are talking about surrender. So completely surrendering to me. Don't even bother about some other person. There is nobody in this world who can give you what I can give you. Enlightening one another with my greatness and speaking of me. मतलब क्या होता है कि when you meet in a group, we are talking about me alone. We are talking about Krishna alone. तो सत्संग बोलते हैं उसको. Satsang, when we are going to have a group of people who are going to talk only about this. And it also is called Satsang, Santo ka Sang, where all the sages come together. And what do the sages do? They don't go and ask, ये यहाँ पे बैंगलोर में कौन सा अच्छा रेस्टोरेंट है, चलो MTR में जाके है ना इडली खाएंगे. वो लोग ऐसे नहीं बात करते.
The Lord's glories.
They talk about the Lord only. They sing his praises, they sing his glories. They are not bothered of what is there and what is not there in that world. They are not bothered of going to the kitchen to find out आज खाने में क्या बनेगा. So they are more bothered about singing the glories and the greatness, and they speak to each other about the greatness of the Lord. My devotees ever remain contented and take delight in me. So they always take delight in me. On those ever united through meditation with me and worshipping me with love, I confer that yoga of wisdom through which they come to me. So in this he says, if you are completely surrendered to me, if you are that single pointed devotion to me, then only I can confer this yoga of knowledge. See, in the previous verses we were talking about trying to get this yoga of knowledge, correct? Now here, because you are my devotee, I will grant you that yoga. What is this? The yoga of knowledge and wisdom. Everything that you wish to know. Now you will understand, Padma, how the sage got his knowledge and his wisdom. The wisdom was conferred on him. so he could sing the praises. Now go to the previous line. He's singing the praises of the Lord, and in the next line he says how this wisdom, the knowledge, the wisdom of the yoga of wisdom was imparted to him. So when he would have met his guru or whatever, Kanakadasa, he was granted this yoga of wisdom by the Lord himself, because he was devoted to him and he had a single pointed devotion and he had surrendered to the will of Lord. Only such a person will they come to me. So we will stop over here. Alright. So we have any questions? You can ask me. Any questions? No questions?
Verse 8.
Verse 8.
8. He says, everything in the world moves because of me. So that means there's nothing that we normal mortals can change. Everything that happens.
No, I'm not able to hear you. And nothing that normal. No, you can tell me, but
yeah. So we normal mortals cannot change anything in the world because everything happens as per the Lord's will.
Exactly.
So we only accept what is happening.
See, yesterday we were discussing two things. Were you there or not there? I don't recollect. We were talking of one is called destiny and other one is, you remember, who all were there?
Free
I don't
will,
know.
destiny and free
Yes.
will.
The second thing, the second word is called free will. The choice is there in your hands. Again, if you see the previous verse, he says, the pure intellect is given to you and the worldly intellect is given to you. The reasoning has been given to you. Do you want to use the worldly intellect or do you want to use the divine intellect? Do you want to use the proper reasoning or do you want to go for the bad reasoning? Do you want to be with me or do you want to fall down in this material world? You can cover yourself up, again go into the same pit of that tar. You can go back into that pit of tar. When you have attachment to the material world, you are going to keep on coming back. Isn't that what he has mentioned? So destiny is one side. Destiny is one side. Second side is the free will. If you accept this as a free will, that you have been given the choice, lift your bow and arrow and shoot. Now you may say, I don't want to shoot. Your mind has come into play, isn't it? The free will, even if there is a destiny written over there, yet you are exercising your mind. I thought about it. I will think about it and let you know. Sometimes you find people talk like this, isn't it? I mean, what is there to think about and let you know? Can it not be on the spot? You think by letting you know after X number of days, is it going to cause something different? Your mind is at play. When we are talking of the spiritual, the answer has to be spontaneous. When we are talking about the spiritual, every moment's delay. If the Lord is telling you, take this bow and arrow and shoot right now, and the person keeps on saying, no, let me think about it. Why should I do this? Why should I do this? This entire book is based on that. So free will is what is been given to you, and free will is the one, by using the free will, you are going to fall down. But what is destiny? That is the reason why the word called surrender has come up. If you have surrendered to the will of Lord, surrendering to the will of Lord, you will do exactly what the Lord wills for you to do. But the moment you say to somebody, let me think about it, you have created a loop in the system, and that is what is called karma. So you have created additional loops. Destiny is one side. It has to happen. See, if it is destined that somebody has to die, that person will die any which way. It is destiny. But if you think you are responsible for his death, and because of you, you could have braked, I could have done this and I could have done that, you keep on saying, suppose the person is thrown under your car and he dies, or Suppose there is a railway train and you are the motorman of that railway train, and then one person falls down on the track and dies, and you keep on thinking, यार बेचारा अगर मैंने ब्रेक मारा होता तो वो नहीं मरता, ये नहीं वो नहीं वो नहीं वो नहीं वो नहीं. That is called the free will. It has been given to you. The person was supposed to die under under the wheels, so he died. But the more you think about it, the more you cogitate on it, the more you are going to put your pressure on the mind, you are going to put karma very much in the way. So every time your mind has acted, think about it. Every time when the mind acts, you have created loops in the system. Destiny, anyway, which we will have to happen. But the choice is always there with you. The choice of accepting it. The choice of doing what the Lord destines for you. But the mind comes into play, you are finished. Because your mind is not with the Lord. Do you understand this? The mind not with the Lord means you are thinking about it. Every time when you think, you are into it. And more lives you are going to carry for yourself. Why? So do you understand, on one side destiny and free will exists. Free will is the point where you have been given the divine intellect. You have been given the divine reasoning. You have been given the divine service that you can do to the Lord. All these things, plus a lot many of those words which we did in the previous line. There is a line where he says all these words, reason, right knowledge, unclouded understanding is mentioned, line number 4 and 5. Apply all these lines. All these lines you apply. And then you will understand reason. You are reasoning out. No, the reason has to be instant. It has to be towards the Lord. Do you remember I told you, only with the pure intellect will the reason be perfect. Only the right knowledge and the wrong knowledge. The right knowledge comes from the divine source. We use that in the world. Unclouded understanding. Unclouded means, who is the one who clouds it? The mind clouds it. And thoughts cloud it. Thoughts are going to cover you up continuously. It's going to tell you, you are clouded. Forbearance. Where you don't have the capacity to even withstand anything. Veracity, control. All these words that we did in the previous line, they are the ones who can put you in a big loop, the reverse of them. And that is where mind comes into play, and that is where we say the destiny is not at play, but free will is at play. That is the reason why Krishna in one of the verses says, you are friend of your own, or you can be your worst enemy. Does he say these words? Yeah. You can be your best friend, or you can be your worst enemy. Best friend, listening to the divine consciousness, immediately doing whatever the divine consciousness told. Worst enemy, where you keep on cogitating and thinking, ये करने का है कि नहीं करने का, ये कर सकते हैं कि नहीं कर सकते, ये कैसा होना चाहिए, ये ऐसा कैसे करूंगा तो मैं तकलीफ में है, वो होगा, ये होगा, मैं, where Arjuna keeps on thinking and thinking and thinking, and what does he do? He puts his bow and arrow down. His mind is constantly in a turmoil. And that is what is the cause of his problem. So Krishna is there to explain to him. Understand? So free will is very, very important. Every time when your mind is working, understand it's the free will is constantly working. Okay. All right. Any more questions? All right. So I'll take your leave.